So yeah, hi there everyone. I'm Joshua. First of all, thanks to Felix and Jonas, of course, for having me. Because I'm not affiliated with Ambient in any way. I'm a independent full stack developer. I'm self-employed. I mainly focus on PHP and JavaScript, and mostly work with the Laravel framework, which is probably the best PHP framework, and I really enjoy using it. I'm also like a part-time digital nomad. I started my self-employment early last year, and lived for a while in Prague and Vienna. But then COVID hit, and there was the whole pandemic situation, and for some months now I've been living in Cologne. I'm originally from Aachen, so I'm not that far away from home. I'm also tinkering around with Swift and Swift UI, and I develop iOS and macOS applications, and I also do a lot of UI UX stuff, because most of the time I'm the sole developer for startups or something, and I build the whole MVP and design it from the ground up, so I'm mostly working on my own. Today I want to talk to you about Alpine Js, which is relatively new, and it's the spiritual successor to jQuery. By show of hands, who has used jQuery in the last 3 months? Because it's heavily used still, and now there is Alpine, and it's really nice and easy to use, and I want to show you today why it's so nice. I asked on Twitter why people enjoy using it, and the creator of Alpine JS, Caleb Porzio, replied to my question. And his answer was that his biggest reason for building it is that he wanted something that is little complex, but has a lot of power, and keep it intuitive and easy to learn. I like his last sentence, it's my ode to simplicity, and I want to show you why that is. Also Hugo Di Francesco, he's really involved in the Alpine community. He wrote on CSS tricks. Maybe you know the site. It's a replacement for jQuery and JavaScript, but with the declarative rendering. And the previous talks about Svelte and Vue, they're relatively huge compared to Alpine JavaScript frameworks. Mainly used for building single-page applications when working with APIs. Alpine is not really built for that, and it's not necessarily built for complex applications in general. It's for adding sprinkles of JavaScript and add interactivity to your page. For example, it's well suited for marketing pages, and when you're working with backend templating languages Laravel's Blade, Symfony's Twig, and I think for example Django offers some probably backend templating as well, so it would probably be well suited for that too. An anecdote, for example, where is it? The Notion marketing page, who here uses Notion? Probably some of you. They migrated their site to Next.js with server-side rendering, and they reduced their site from over 9 megabytes to 847 kilobytes, and their Notion/product page is down 75% from 12.5 megabytes to 3.1. And I think this shows that for building marketing sites that should be fast, you don't necessarily need to use React, Vue, Svelte, but maybe use something like Alpine. Just drop in the CDN link. Cedric said that you can do it with Vue too. but you miss out on like the Vue CLI, single file components and everything. Alpine just doesn't offer all of that. You can, of course, integrate it in your bundle and yeah, use Webpack, Vite or whatever. And yeah, but Alpine is like, it's really lightweight. It's like 7 kilobytes. It's really easy to learn. I will show you a demo. That's probably the biggest part of my whole talk. And it's heavily inspired by the Vue syntax. And yeah, Alpine in general has like 15 attributes, 6 properties and 2 methods. That's it. It's really just to add like sprinkles of JavaScript and add interactivity to your website. Those were all the slides. Now it's time for a demo. I prepared a little landing page for the Meetup to demonstrate everything. I just spun up some Tailwind UI site and used Tailwind UI components. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole site. Just with some like lorem ipsum text, like with some fake events and yeah, just some stuff to show you how Alpine works. It would be probably better if I would mirror my display so I can look at the code here too. Yes, perfect. So that's pretty much the whole page. It's just one big HTML file. No like single file components, no partials, nothing. Like when I work with Laravel, I would probably separate it all into like partials and small components. But it's just to illustrate how Alpine works. Yeah, pretty much just what you have to do is like put in the CDN link for the Alpine core. Alpine also offers like 3 official plugins, and I'm showing you 2 of them. And for them to work, you just have to put in the CDN link. I also have like a JavaScript file with just some state that I show you later. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole site. For example, some of you would probably build this with React, with Vue, whatever, and yeah, to have like the simplicity and ease of use, like to add interactivity, like drop downs and everything you want. Like for example, showing those FAQ entries and everything. You could obviously use like vanilla JavaScript, but why not use Alpine? So for example, to like initialize a component, you just use xdata. And you can pass to the object pretty much whatever you like. Here I have just a value of, or a key of show with a value of true. And yeah, the xShow directive just binds to this object. So for example, this is the banner here on top, and there is a close button. All you have to do is like add the add-click directive, and this is a shorthand. Like you can pretty much use every JavaScript event that's available. It's just the shorthand for X on click, but I prefer to use the shorthand. So this uses like global state. For example, there is a close button, but you can also get in touch. The get in touch just opens some modal, and it's global state because the state is otherwise scoped to the component itself. And it's just like declaring this state here with an Alpine init, that when the page loads, Alpine initializes the state for global things. So yeah, what you can do is just for the dismiss button, just add another event like add click, show is equal to false, and that's it. So that's the simplicity of Alpine. But after every page load, the banner is showing up again. What you can do with the Persist plugin, which we imported here, you can just use $persist, put it into parentheses, reload the page, dismiss it, and now when you reload, it's gone. Obviously you can do it with Vue or like vanilla JavaScript, but probably this is the most elegant and simple way, and I really like to use it. The next example, for instance, if you want to have like mobile navigation, to show this menu, you just do pretty much the same. Just let me have a look at it. Exactly, here is the mobile menu. It's showed and hidden based on the menu open state, and it's pretty much the same. You just use like xshow, and it's bind to the open object, and the xcloak is pretty important. You use it or you define it in your CSS, because when it's missing and you reload the page, you see like some components may blink up for a second, and you just use the xcloak for that. That prevents those blinks or blips of components until Alpine is fully loaded. Alpine also allows you to use transitions. It's really easy to use them. You can just define different kinds of transitions for like the timeline, when it enters and when it leaves and everything. So for example, you see like a small, short, smooth transition for that mobile menu. And what's also easy to use, Alpine has modifiers. For example, if you open the menu, you don't have to hit the close button, but you can just click outside and it closes. And it's just by using that outside modifier. Another example is, just let me have a look at it. Yeah, exactly, like the past events, I just made them up. You can see that they transition in really smooth, and that's pretty easy to use with the Alpine Intersect plugin. It uses what is it called? Like the interaction observer, I think. It's a native browser API, and it's really easy to use. Just let me search for it. Exactly. Like it's just an initialized component, and it's just this one directive. Like x-intersect means when it's in the viewport, do it once, shown as true, and that goes for the whole like past event. And the past events also utilize Alpine's templating, which can be quite powerful. I made up like some fake data here. Those events, like they could probably come from a JSON file or from some kind of API, but I just declared them here in the markup. Most people don't know it. I also didn't knew it that there is a native HTML template tag. I heard of it the first time when I learned Alpine, and yeah, it doesn't get rendered if you don't have actual data in it. And the Alpine directive x4 just iterates like over the events with a key bound to it. And pretty much you can see that there are IDs, names, images, and a date. I made it up, and you can use a directive like, where is it? Xtext. Exactly. The Xtext directive just puts out the event name or like the event date, and you can also like use data binding. Just let me search for it. Exactly, like the source attribute of the image. uses the event image, which is like some kind of URL where I found some nice photos. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the templating. And yeah, another thing you can do really easily is bind CSS classes or classes in general to apply different CSS styles. For example, there is like this small like interactivity with the page, like when you click on the FAQ entry, it just changes the rotation of the FAQ entry. You can really easily do that with the class directive. This is also shorthand, like when it starts with a colon, it's just like shorthand for xbind class. And yeah, depending on the state, when it's collapsed, like it's rotate 0 or minus rotate 180, it's really easy to use. And yeah, and the other example I had was where is it? The footer. Yeah, the modal. The modal uses global state, and as I said before, you can just initialize it by adding an event listener to the document and listen to the Alpine init. And with the Alpine store method, like I said, like Alpine has like two methods. One is Alpine store, one is Alpine data. You can declare like all your global state in here. It's a new feature, like the global state wasn't part of Alpine until version 3, but now it's like natively implemented. And yeah, you just use like the $store, and then you can access pretty much all the global state you have defined. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the examples, I think. Just let me have a look at it. Oh yeah, one other nice thing is you can, I think I have to clear my local storage for the banner to show up again. Yes, if you click on the Get in Touch, it opens a modal with some weird transition, and you can use like the click outside, as I showed you before, but you can also like listen to global events for keys on the side, which is also really easy. You just use the .window modifier. Like you can listen for a key up event or key down, mouse over, mouse enter, whatever. You can just define the key here, and we want to listen on the window. So yeah, you can really easily just dismiss that modal by like hitting escape, or also like clicking outside of it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it with the demo. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the whole like talk, because Alpine is so simple, it's a short talk.